Hey, what's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges with you. We are doing an early live stream to talk about the overall severe weather threat increasing for the afternoon, but we also have some junk going on early this morning. This was anticipated that we were going to have a few rounds of thunderstorms early in the morning. We do have one active tornado warning, though, that was just issued for extreme eastern Mississippi. This is going to be north of Columbus, Mississippi, just to the west of the Alabama border. And we see that here clearly. Again, if you're a weather nerd like a lot of us that join this channel and are involved in this channel, you know the reds and greens next to each other aren't the greatest. Again, that means that there is some rotation. The latest scan already improving a little bit, though. So we are looking pretty low into the ground, or pretty low into the atmosphere, because of how close this storm actually is to the radar sites. If you're just joining us, welcome to the live stream. Hey, what's going on, Storm Boys? Good to see you again. Early riser, Dustin. Hey, man, what's going on? Good morning to you as well. As we are tracking a few severe thunderstorms, there were at least a few. Been looking at this tornado warning for a while. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning to Ridgeland, Mississippi. And one tornado warning. We did have several, and they are back. They were canceled, but reissued again into parts of central Kentucky. So a lot going on this morning that we can focus on. And again, the overall severe weather threat is increasing. Hey, Maria in Fort Pierce, it is going to get even colder for you as you wake up tomorrow and then really Saturday and Sunday morning. Really, really cold. Low 40s, maybe even slipping back into the upper 30s in parts of really a lot of the Florida Peninsula. So it's going to get really, really cold again. Kind of a sneaky little cold blast here for parts of the South. Dustin, we're going to show you some future radar. Our severe weather threat has increased a little bit overnight. Let me see if I can turn on the severe weather outlook here to kind of show you. Go back to the day 3, or the day 1, I should say. Wait for that to load. Crazy stuff. Yeah, it's going to get really cold again. So certainly, yeah, I want to make sure you cover your plants, all that jazz again. The main severe weather threat for today is going to, surprise, surprise, focus again into the deep south. And real quick, I just want to get a closer look here. If there may be anybody joining us north of Columbus, Mississippi, to the west of the Alabama border, here is our tornado warning. There is the actual radar. It is very, very close to the radar. Let me fire up the telestrator real quick. It needs to load for a second. I'll point out where exactly the trouble spot is here in this particular tornado warned storm. Right in here, we have the reds and greens together. Let me change the color to get a little brighter. We have green going toward the radar. We have red going away from the radar. So there is your tornado vortex signature. It looks like it's broadening out again. Again, this couplet, they aren't touching. To have a really, really, really strong signature, those two are typically touching. We do have rotation, or likely seeing a wall cloud at the very least, kind of rotating here, but kind of broadening out a little bit. Just as we hopped on, it looked a little more impressive just to the west, and it was back here southwest of Aberdeen. So already some signs of improvements, relatively speaking, but still some very, very strong winds in here. Let's do some measuring in here. Nothing too crazy on the thing, but it is definitely stronger than 4 miles an hour. I can assure you that. Really, really scary. Yeah, awful stuff. I know, getting ready for work, and then your bells and whistles are going off on your phone, or if you're watching the news. Certainly a busy morning for those folks, again, just to the north of Columbus, Mississippi. Again, tornado warning there. We can kind of work as we move into this. We can click on that, and that'll give you a timeline here of where these storms are moving to. So you have Beaverton up at 7:32 in the morning. Again, this is going to be for Central Time. The times on your screen here that I'm showing you are for Eastern Time. So we're just subtracting an hour, of course, to get you back to Central Time. Sullivan, 7:21. Beaverton, 7:32. And then shortly thereafter, a little bit down the road, let me get this back off here. This is the area of concern And again, here is where we had Soligent, not officially in the tornado warning just yet. It may be extended. We'll have to watch to see how it behaves once it gets down into this realm. Again, already more improvements, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. Still, of course, a tornado warning. That's going to include Gatman, so make sure that you are in your safe place. Again, away from any windows, things like that. Interior room, closet, bathroom, cover your head, all that kind of stuff. I know that stuff sounds scary, especially at, just before 7 o'clock in the morning, local time. But that is the hand we've been dealt this morning. Again, not the strongest signature, but that does not mean that we don't have an active tornado. What we do, in fact, have a tornado warning, again, just to the south. This is going to go until 7:15 in the morning Central Time, 8:15 Eastern. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. We're going live this morning because the severe weather threat's unfortunately increasing again through the rest of your afternoon. I'm going to toggle the thing above my head here, and I want to show you the severe weather risk. I have right now above my head the winter weather alerts, and I still have those playing there because behind this system, we're going to get a big upslope snow event in the mountains of Tennessee, mountains of North Carolina, mountains of West Virginia, and the western side of Virginia. So this is going to be a pretty impactful system, but you see here right above my head, that's what I want to kind of point out, is going to be the severe weather risk for today. And it has gone back up into that enhanced category. So that's level 3 out of 5. That is going to be, again, for areas Montgomery, just to the east of Birmingham, Atlanta, Macon. So I know Dustin mentioned that he was in North Georgia. We're going to be under that heightened risk. And if you are still with me, let me know, and I'll show you that future radar here. Hey, what's going on, Bobby girl? I think you might be getting some snow out of this. At least the higher elevations, you're going to get some of that upslope in Bristol, Tennessee tomorrow. We can take a look at that as well. But again, in the short term, right, we're watching, and again, some improvements. The rotation backing off as it kind of moves to the east. Again, not a huge tornado day. That's one of the positives here. It's not a huge tornado day. That threat is we move into the deep south and southeast, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. It's not zero, but it's certainly not as high as what it was last week. Certainly end of November. We're not talking about outbreak stuff like that. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that, but also be aware that again the severe weather threat is decently high, and you see again that level 3 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. It does include the Atlanta metro area. Bobby, we can take a look to see if Bristol is included in that. I don't know where you are in relation to where the to the mountains are. Let me open my millions of tabs. We're also waiting for, if you happen to be tuning in from Southern California or Northern California, anywhere in California, we're waiting for the fresh drought monitor to be released. That comes out at 8 o'clock Eastern time every Thursday. So we're going to see what that has in store for us. In case I have anybody on the severe weather side, again, let me check. Yeah, okay, so it looks like for Bobby Girl, it looks like it's mainly in the mountains. You might see some flakes, but like just to your east, again, right up in the higher elevations, you have a winter storm warning in effect. Hey, Michelle, what's going on in Louisiana? Good to see you. So yeah, stay out of the mountains over the next couple of days because that upslope snow machine is going to crank up. Need to stay highly caffeinated at this time in the morning. Who's drinking coffee? Give it a thumbs up on the live stream if you are drinking coffee, what you're drinking today, as we kind of watch this severe weather threat. Early in the morning right now, we do have several severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a tornado warning right now. That's north of Columbus, Mississippi. I'm going to zoom things back out I want to show you kind of the full scale here where we have more severe weather. This is now parts of Kentucky getting rocked west of Lexington, Louisville, some nasty thunderstorms. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Elizabethtown right now, just north of Bowling Green. Look at that bright purple popping up. That is where we have an intense hail core. We have had reports of hail back to the west. You see all those little things popping up? These little yellow icons. That's where hail reports came in north of Oak Grove. So that storm does have a history of producing some hail north of Bowling Green, north of Horse Cave, to the west of Horse Cave, excuse me. Same deal for Elizabethtown. Watch out for that. Some really nasty stuff moving through downtown Louisville. Looks like a damaging wind threat. We might be having one of those bow echoes here. Kind of see that backwards C-shaped, and you typically get strong winds to rush in behind here, and that is probably why we do have that warning further down the line there. So a lot going on. Active start to the morning. This is going to continue into the afternoon. Again, if you are just tuning in, if you are just finding this channel, let me know. If you are just finding us for the first time, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges, and we talk and track all things weather on this channel. Welcome if you are just finding us. Jackson, Mississippi. We'll take a look at Jackson. You are just on the fringe here, at least in Jackson, of the severe weather threat. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson, so we'll go down there and we're going to check out that cell. So you're mentioning about the severe weather threat kind of lighting up this morning. Let me get to the Jackson radar. And here is that. Let me get back to the regular reflectivity. And yeah, that is a nasty cell. So this is going to be north of Jackson. We also have nasty stuff, at least where the warning is. So here's the warning. That includes Ridgeland. Canton is in that warning. Here is Jackson itself. Right down I-20. So there's Jackson. There are some nasty storms to the west kind of rolling right into Jackson. So in the next 15, 20 minutes, there's going to be some pretty nasty weather coming into Jackson, Mississippi. Hey, Mickey, good to see you up in Michigan. Windy and DFW, thank you for that report as always, Storm Boys. Working this morning. So again, as we're on the sorry, I thought those comments were coming up. There we go. Good to see you, Mickey. Thank you, Storm Boys, for that report. If you are just joining us again, we are watching several severe thunderstorm warnings, one tornado warning. So we'll keep an eye on Jackson to see if they do warn on that storm. Further back up the line, we're going to recheck in on this tornado warning. Certainly an ugly shape when you look at it from the non-high resolution view. And the radar data that we're going to get in here is going to be pretty garbage because the storm is pretty much right on top of the radar. So we really can't see much. We had this happen a lot. A little bit of rotation there still showing up there on radar, reds and greens together. But again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens there as this moves further away from the radar. But certainly not the best thing you want to wake up to on a Thursday morning, or any morning for that matter, as more severe weather goes down, continues down the line. Let me know where you are tuning in from this morning, and we can kind of dictate this to where you want to go. And we can take a look at the weather where you are, and also talk a little bit about what the weather is going to be like today. Because, again, we do have that severe weather threat. I'll zoom back out, again, above my head. That is going to be your thing. We have winter storm warnings just to the east of Knoxville into the Blue Ridge Mountains, Great Smoky Mountains National Park under that winter storm warning. Beckley under winter weather advisory. Extreme Southwest Virginia, Grayson County. Is Galax included? No, just outside of Galax. Grayson County, Virginia. Johnson City. I know Bobby Girl's watching from Bristol. So we are in that winter weather advisory in extreme right there in the Tri-City area. but there's a little donut hole as well. Friend lives just southeast, about 30 miles, and tornadoes always seem to move northwest of Jackson. Good that they are typically lucky there. The typical storm motion tornadoes are from southwest to northeast, so that would make sense. So, for instance, if there was one down in here, they kind of move in that direction. Not always, but that's where they typically like to move, southwest to northeast. So if one was dropping out here towards Louisiana or out that way, they would go in that direction. But the good news is no tornado warning for Jackson. The severe weather threat for Jackson, Mississippi is relatively low today. We're in that 1 out of 5 severe weather risk today. I'll kind of zoom that out above my head, and you see that green color there for Jackson, Mississippi. That is where we have that. So welcome to the live stream, everybody that's just joining us. I see we have some new people joining. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. Let me know if you are finding our channel for the first time. Welcome as we track some severe weather. Unfortunately, already, the tornado warning that we have been watching has now been allowed to expire. We thought that might be the case as we were losing some of that rotation. So good news there again, north of Columbus, right along the Alabama border. That tornado warning just expired. So some good news there this morning. Where we have some nasty weather, of course, just north and west of Jackson, Mississippi right now, but then also in Kentucky. Has some hail threats this morning to the west of Bowling Green, also to the north of Bowling Green. And as we ride up I-65 into Louisville, getting pounded right now with some very, very heavy rain. We have a severe thunderstorm warning just to your south. That's going to include Radcliffe, Elizabethtown. This is just to your west in Bardstown. If you're familiar with these areas, if you have friends or family living here, again, this nasty line of thunderstorms is going to be kind of rolling right down I-64. So heads up in Frankfort, Lexington, Danville, Kentucky, Mount Vernon, Kentucky. Towards the I-75 corridor. This is going to be coming. Looks like a fresh severe thunderstorm warning just issued, or at least an update there. See this hail core. This storm has had a history. That is too thick. This system or this storm cell has had a history of producing some pretty big hail during its life. So certainly we're getting that ground truth kind of what the radar is estimating and what the radar is telling us. So keep that in mind. Again, if you're living in Horse Cave, Glasgow, this is in Kentucky, again, for those that are just finding the stream. And if you are finding this stream helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It does help us out a lot. It allows YouTube to push this out to more people so that we can give them a heads up. I do want to quickly change the title here because I started this off with live tornado warning, and that tornado warning is expired, so I don't want to give anybody that there's a false sense of everything. So I'm just going to update that real quick, click save, and then we are back because that tornado warning, thankfully, has been allowed to expire just moments ago. So some good news to start things off. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know the area of concern. If you're living in parts of the Deep South, I can show you the high-resolution future radar you just saw there in real time as we were live with you. New severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to include just outside of Springfield, Kentucky, Lebanon, Kentucky, Raywick, Loretto, New Haven, Hodgenville. So now we are under a severe thunderstorm warning, and the main threats with this is going to be damaging wind and then some pretty nasty hail. Let me see if I can turn on. Let's go find the radar site closest by. This is going to be just outside of Fort Knox. And then there we go with the very strong wind. So that green color you see there. And I mean, the good news for them, they might. I would not be surprised if they do upgrade that to a tornado warning in Kentucky. That's probably why they because most of this is moving towards the radar in that direction. But there's like a little bit of spin. And I don't have the text data on that warning from the Weather Service. But, okay, they did include tornado possible. So as we were kind of looking at their live, they did include tornado possible in their risk because of this right here. That looks a little tornado-y to me That's a tornado vortex signature. I think they should probably issue a tornado warning on that. A lot of times when you get these lines, again, it's not a supercell thunderstorm, but a lot of times you get these lines, they kind of have these bowing segments, and then you get some areas of rotation. There's actually another one here. So if you're living around Hodgenville, if you know anybody that lives around there, I know it's quote-unquote just a severe thunderstorm warning. We never like to say that, though, because they cause damage. Let them know that it may be more than just a severe thunderstorm. Hey, John, what's going on in Tennessee, northeast of Chattanooga? If you have any kind of elevation, you are under a winter storm warning. Let's check on that. I'm gonna zoom in on the top here. So if you can see kind of right here, I'll draw this on the map, of course. Here, this is above my head. There is Chattanooga, and then that's for the winter storm warning. So obviously, you know this area well. If you are in the elevations there, you're going to get a good amount of snow coming through. And yeah, this looks more concerning. Stupid Illustrator. They should probably issue a tornado warning on this. If you know of anybody in and around Loretto, Kentucky, New Haven, Kentucky, you might want to give them a call. Just let them know that they're under a severe thunderstorm warning. But there's definitely some spin in this cell. I'm going to back this up. I'm going to show you some reflectivity. Just looking at it, you wouldn't think like, oh my gosh, just see the nasty hook or anything like that. This is what we call the QLCS tornadoes, these linear tornadoes. That can form it when there's some bowing going involved in here. It's like a broken line. You can get brief tornadoes. They're not the long track ones that we see a lot of times, unfortunately, in the deep south or anything like that. But at least on a day like today, but certainly something you want to pay attention to because they can cause some damage. Let's go check in on Mississippi and Alabama. And as we thought they might, there's that severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson, Mississippi now. So, Bobby Girl, your friend that lives near Jackson, now under a severe thunderstorm warning. We were looking at that cell that was just to their west. They just issued on that. Now, it looked concerning. We were kind of dissecting it just in the form of damaging wind, maybe some hail involved, as that kind of moves right down I-20. So what I want to do now, again, if anybody is tuning in, from areas in the south, I can show you the future radar here. And this is basically how the afternoon could roll on. So this is where we stand right now. And so far, I think the radar is doing, this is future radar, is doing a pretty good job because we do have nasty storms on the doorstep of Lexington. We do have some few nasty thunderstorms in, no, I hope I didn't, did I say that, Storm Boys? If I did, I misspoke and I apologize. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, no tornado for Jackson. No tornado for Jackson. Those nasty storms around Jackson, but no tornado. We still have some nasty thunderstorms in and around Kentucky. Here's how the afternoon could go, and I know we had some friends watching from northern Georgia. Here we go as we get into the afternoon. So this is now going to be, that's where we are right now. So this kind of moves east through the morning. So this is going to be now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is when the main severe weather threat starts to get rolling. And you see this here. Most of this is going to be in a line. But we could have some embedded damaging wind gusts in this line. We like to keep it linear. But notice this, though, especially around Montgomery, Alabama, later on this afternoon. Again, this is going to be 1 o'clock central. Note we have a few of these little isolated supercells. The tornado threat is not super high today, but it's not zero, and there is a little bit of indication we might be able to pop a few supercell thunderstorms ahead of this main line. So let me back this up again and kind of show you how this line comes in. So this is now at 11 o'clock central. There's noon. Very nasty thunderstorms. You see where that bright purple is? The darker the purple, the darker the red on here, the more intense the thunderstorms on this rendition of future radar. For reference, if it's hard to see, here is Montgomery, here is Huntsville, here is Jackson, Mississippi, here is Birmingham. So those storms will be moving through Birmingham at about noon central, noon local time. And then we'll continue to see those go east. So here we go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Still some isolated supercells kind of pushing in towards Columbus, Georgia today. Towards areas south of Atlanta. Most of this is in a line. Certainly, like we're seeing in Kentucky, we can get a tornado, a brief one, in a linear situation like this. They're typically not as strong or long-lived. Doesn't matter. They can still cause damage, so we're always paying attention for that. And then as we get in deeper into the afternoon, so this is now going to be dinner time in Atlanta, could be rocking. So be on the lookout if you're watching from North Georgia in and around the Atlanta metro area, back towards Columbus, Georgia, and then maybe even into Pensacola, Florida for the commute home. Some nasty thunderstorms rolling through there could impact your commute. So keep that in mind tonight as that threat kind of rolls through. Again, the main threat is going to be damaging wind and then large hail early. That tornado threat is lower than what we've seen. It looks like they may have just issued a fresh tornado watch. So this is hot off the press. So you saw that yellow box maybe just pop up. So now we have a new tornado watch for parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Let me zoom this out and let me get get the bearing straight here so we can go over this with you if you are just tuning in. So here is the official tornado watch. And if our friend from Chattanooga, if John is with us still, that tornado watch is just to your west. So you're kind of like right in the middle of a winter storm warning to your east, the mountains, and then a tornado watch to your west. So it's one of those kind of deals today. Also newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for Florence, Alabama. This tornado watch now is going to include Fayetteville, Tennessee. There's a couple of counties in Tennessee, again, just west of Chattanooga, right along the Alabama border. That is going to extend into North Alabama. That includes Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Philadelphia, Mississippi. And it kind of splits Jackson in half because our severe weather threat's literally happening right now. So, I mean, again, there's not much time left. And it would be this one in question. Let's just check it because it is hanging on the edge there. So let me head back to the high-resolution radar. See if there's anything concerning in here. And again, we're getting very, very close to the radar. Everything looks to be in one direction at this time. And all of the above. So some good news there. But again, hot off the press, if you are just joining us, first of all, welcome to the live stream. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. If you are finding us for the first time, let me know. If you do like talking and tracking the weather and like to stay, or just like to stay up to date, informed, we would love to have you on board in this weather community. Please hit that subscribe button. Certainly, I'd appreciate a thumbs up as well. It helps YouTube push this out. All right, so let's see what we have going on here. So now we have a new tornado warning again. This is the one that we were just talking about. So if you were with me before, we were looking at this, and this was kind of concerning, and we thought that they probably should have issued a tornado warning from the start on this. That big red box you see there is the severe thunderstorm watch. Let me go and turn off my watches so that we can go back in. Let's get back into the Fort Knox radar here. Get the high-resolution data back up, and we're going to go in here. So we mentioned, again, the early heads-up, and it certainly looks even more concerning. This is nasty. So here we go. There is your tornado vortex signature. So really, if you know anybody in Raywick, if you know anybody in Loretto, Lebanon, New Haven, Springfield, Kentucky, give them a call. Let them know this is nasty, nasty stuff. We have actually two strong couplets now. Look at this. So just south of New Haven, we have one. And then just south of that, we have one. So Those are very, very strong indications that we have a tornado going on. Again, not getting any radar confirmation. Let me just do some inspecting here real time. There are our 2 tornado vortex signatures, our pair of them, just south of New Haven, Kentucky. So again, I don't know if anybody's living in this area. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Loretto, Raywick, we need to be in our safe places now. Springfield, these are ugly. Let me turn on, get back to the high resolution stuff. I'm going to turn on correlation coefficient and just make sure we don't have any debris signature. Does not look like we have a debris signature. That does not mean that we don't have a tornado, but still some nasty stuff going on here. This is what the point I was trying to make before. This is not your typical supercell thunderstorm, okay, where we have that. Not your typical supercell, but we have some very, very strong rotation. I mean, that is a very, very strong area. Let me just zoom out to kind of give you, if you're just tuning in, Lexington over here, Louisville just at the top of your screen, and then this is to the east of Elizabethtown. I want to update the title here on the live stream. Again, if you are just joining us, welcome. Let me know where you are tuning in from. All right, so the title has been updated on the YouTube thing. Just wanted to give people a heads up again that might just be waking up here. It's 8:21 in the morning Eastern Time, 7:21 Central Time, to a very nasty start to the day. If you see here, these really bright areas, we have one here. It's looking a little more improved. Looking a little more, that one still looks very intense. And again, want to make sure we give a heads up to everybody in Loretto, Kentucky. What's going on in Fort Wayne? Hey, Robbie, good to see you again in Joplin. We are missing out, thankfully, on this round of severe weather, although I do think we have some snow falling, at least back there. We had it in Kansas City a little while earlier. I'm just going to zoom out. Again, we are to the west of I-75, to the south of I-64 this morning. So there's some of the snow coming down on the backside of this. Joplin, some light snow, it looks like. Feel free to confirm that. That's what the radar is showing anyway. Some of the heaviest stuff, though, up towards, it came through Kansas City. Jefferson City looks like we have a mix. There's St. Louis with some very heavy rain still. Let me back this up as we have more people coming on. Good morning, everybody that is just tuning in. And we'll get you back to the tornado warning. That's the most concerning part. This was going to be a more of a, hey, heads up, later this morning into the afternoon, here's what's going to happen, or here's what could happen. But now we've had 2 tornado warnings on this live stream, one in Alabama, or one in Mississippi earlier that has since been expired. And now we have a pair of very, very strong areas of rotation right around New Haven, Kentucky, and then another one right here. Same storm, 1 tornado warning, but 2 areas of spin. These could certainly be producing brief tornadoes to the west of Loretto, west of Raywick. That is a tongue twister. So again, if you know anybody that lives in this part, and for reference, let me kind of pull this back out again. We're south of Louisville, and we're to the southwest of Lexington. So there is Louisville at the top of your screen. And that's where we have the tornado warning. So we're not in this in Louisville. I know there are 4 million ways to pronounce that, so I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it the proper way. But there is I-75. Here is Lexington. It's kind of drifting up into this direction towards Springfield, Kentucky. So again, if you know of anybody that lives there, give them a heads up. Again, it's a kind of crazy morning, getting rocked in parts of Kentucky. There is the whole line. And I mean, look at that. Just ugly stuff here. A good question. I mean, I both tornado vortex signature couplets were very well pronounced. I wouldn't call it necessarily like twin tornadoes like you might see in the plains off of like one in the background and one in the foreground. It wouldn't look like that. But there could have been two brief tornadoes there. So some crazy stuff. Let's go check in. New radar scan came through, and now it looks like we've lost the one, thankfully. And now we still have that right here, again, kind of jogging towards Loretto, Kentucky. So again, that's our main concern right now this morning. If anybody has any questions onto what the weather is going to be like for them, specifically in the deep south today or the mid-Atlantic, we have the snow coming in tomorrow. Winter storm warnings are in play. We have a newly issued tornado watch for Mississippi, Alabama, extreme southern Tennessee. That's where we stand in those general areas. This is going to go until 7:45 Central, 8:45 Eastern Time. Let me just pull this back. Welcome if you are just joining the live stream. Hope you're having a good morning, and hopefully you're staying safe if you are in these areas that we are watching this morning. I'm going to get back to the actual radar here. I'm just going to check to make sure we don't have any other shenanigans going on down near Jackson. Another severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for Mississippi. This is going to be northeast of Jackson towards, this includes Philadelphia, Mississippi, Carthage, Mississippi. Very nasty stuff. These darker purples representing where we could have some large hail. And then again, we're seeing kind of that bow shape. This is more of the environment today rather than like a tornado outbreak per se. But we could have these damaging wind gusts as the line, we call it, bows out like that. So that's one of the things that we're really going to be watching into the deep south today. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. But certainly as we get into the afternoon, as the high-res future radar shows, we could see some of those isolated supercells. So again, taking this out for those just joining us, this is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then there we have a little supercell. There we have a supercell. We have a little more of those kidney bean-shaped things starting to pop back up. So that's what we're going to watch later on this afternoon. Then that line completely blows out, and then it's going to turn really, really cold for the deep south. So I want to know that as well. Make sure you cover your plants if you are watching from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I want to touch on the snow real quick, and then we'll go check in on that tornado warning, because I know we had some people tuning in from Tennessee. The snow is going to be very localized, but it's going to be heavy in the mountains. Right there in parts of the mountains of Tennessee, east of Knoxville, that pink stripe there is closing in on a foot. And then also where we have winter weather advisories in play on the western slopes of Virginia and on the western slopes of West Virginia, we could get 3 to 6 inches of snow there. You see that little stripe of purple popping up near Snowshoe. That's where we could have 6+ inches. So a pretty impactful upslope snow event coming on the back end of this system that is going to bring, that is bringing the severe weather potential, or the severe weather now, and then the potential for the afternoon to parts of the deep south. Welcome to those that are joining us. If you are new here, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. If you do like doing that or just staying informed, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you in this weather community. We have great conversations when the weather isn't out of control. And then we track it when it is out of control. And just like that, we have a second tornado warning now for Kentucky. So we're going to get back into Kentucky. And again, just by looking at this, especially for those that are living in the plains, you're like, okay, this does not look like that typical tornado feel here. All that stuff. I can imagine they are. There hasn't been much of that this winter. The milk and bread is flying off the shelves. All right, so we're going to get in here again, and there is the signature. So this is right around Bardstown. So that's where we have the rotation. Let me back this up again. And again, that's certainly concerning. So this is going to be for Bloomfield, Kentucky, Willisburg, Kentucky. Again, for reference, Louisville is right at the top of your screen. And then Lexington is over there. So we're kind of like in between and south of Louisville and Lexington. The good news is that secondary tornado warning, we still have a little bit of it right here to the west of Loretto. It looks like right in here, actually. But it is getting weaker than it was before. But we still have this nasty one in Bardstown. Let me see if I can turn off the warnings here so we can get a better look at it so it's not blinking in your face. All right, so there was just the update in real time. It does not look as concerning anymore. It's broadened out here. Again, this is what you have to watch in line situation. It's kind of harder to determine where the tornado could be. Not where it could be, but they spin up so quick and then spin back down so quick. So in a situation when you're in the plains, you get these big, beefy supercells that you can see them rotating clearly. These kind of jump around a little bit because you see there's a little bit of spin here around Loretto, broad spin here to the southeast of Loretto, and then they kind of wind back down. We had that intense couplet before, and now that is gone. So the main concern here is to the east of Bardstown, but it does look a little bit better. Better in the sense that the rotation is not as tight, it's not as complete. But here it is. Again, and that's going to be moving in this direction. So again, heads up, Willisburg. This should stay south of Bloomfield, even if it kind of jogs up this direction a little bit. So again, the main areas to watch there are going to be around Bloomfield and Willisburg as that kind of pushes to the east. Again, for reference, if you are just tuning in this morning, and first of all, welcome. Let me highlight here. There's a lot of colors on this screen. Here is Louisville. Here is Lexington. That's where our tornado warnings are. So again, then the worst of the weather is over for Louisville, but it's moving into Lexington over the next little bit. I'm going to turn off the colors here, or the wind direction part, the velocity mode of the radar, and then kind of pull things out. Again, nasty stuff going on. There's a wind damage report there coming in. Tree down in Tawnyville in LaRue County, Kentucky. So again, as we've been kind of talking about all morning, not only do we have the radar indicating that these are nasty, but we also have the ground truth that these are nasty storms because they are producing hail, they are producing wind damage as well. I'm going to back this up. I'm going to zoom out. We're going to go check in on some of those storms that were in Alabama and Mississippi. And again, let me know where you are tuning in from, and we can kind of check things out a little bit. We've had some concern in and around Jackson, so we checked that out, and things are relatively okay. We're not seeing anything spin. We do have some nasty, gusty winds, though, moving into Jackson. Then also in and around Florence, Alabama, on the northwest side. Hey, Christina, welcome in Birmingham. We just had a newly issued tornado watch for Birmingham. What's going on in Knoxville? You have that winter storm warning just to your east, so the mountains are going to get crushed with some snow, maybe even up to a foot in the higher elevations there on the eastern side, just outside of Knoxville. I'll zoom in above my head to show you where I have the watches and stuff. So here is Knoxville. And again, just to the mountain, just to the higher elevations to your north, or to your east and north. Some crushing snow coming your way. For Birmingham, we will see that severe weather threat come our way in a few hours. I'll show you future radar. Let me find my Alabama slide here. Birmingham looks like we're up towards like 11 o'clock your time to around lunchtime. So there are some of those nasty storms moving through into Birmingham. And I will circle out Birmingham in case you can't see it because sometimes the text is a little small and if you're watching on a smaller screen. So right where that circle is, that's where that line of thunderstorms will be. Right around 11 o'clock in the morning to lunchtime. That's when you'll see that as well. Let's go check in on some of that snow for Knoxville. It's mainly going to be outside of the city for Knoxville. But at least the heavy accumulations, if you look closely here, you're welcome, Christina. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Hope you are doing well and staying safe. So here's Knoxville, if you can see that. Let me change my color to pink so that it stands out a little bit more. So there's Knoxville. The heaviest snow is no doubt going to be in the mountains, but you're going to see some flakes. So this is now Friday morning. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, tomorrow, and there's snow in Knoxville. We don't have any advisories issued. I wouldn't be surprised if they put us in a winter weather advisory in Knoxville. So I guess I'm telling you there's a chance. I don't think it's anything too crazy in Knoxville, though. Hey, Darren, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for finding us in New Brunswick. That's awesome. I agree with Bobby Girl there, for sure. Again, Darren, welcome to the live stream. We talk about Canada a bunch, too. There's not a lot going on today. Anytime. No, you are awesome. Thank you for joining the live stream this morning. Charleston, West Virginia, you're going to get some snow out of the deal. We have a winter weather advisory in play. It's not a ton, but it's something. We'll back this up. There's our winter weather advisory for Charleston. As I'm zooming in above my head. We are in that purple. Right on in here. There's Charleston. And I will take you back to the future snow radar here. And we start to get in on that rain changing to snow. So this is going to be now at 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday. We have still some rain, maybe mixed with a few big snowflakes in there. The changeover is underway there. And then by daybreak, there you go. Nice little burst of snow. It's not a ton again. It's not a ton, but some snow coming your way. Maybe an inch or two. Let's see what the chance to overachieve. Good to see you again in South Bend. All right, Sue, we're going to take a look at Huntsville, Alabama. And again, we are under that tornado watch. Let me turn on the watch again. And for those just tuning in, this was issued about 20 or 30 minutes ago when we were live tracking a couple of tornado warnings. But there is that tornado watch. Huntsville is included in there. Birmingham is included in that tornado watch. And we do have some nasty weather just off to our west in Huntsville. A severe thunderstorm warning for Florence, if you're familiar where that is. Our stuff comes in a little bit earlier in the morning than it does in Birmingham. So let's back to train up a little bit. And then there you go. So there's about 10, 11 o'clock. So really in about an hour or two, some nasty thunderstorms are going to be on your doorstep. And I think this is doing a pretty good job at showing that. So again, let me bring out my telestrator here to kind of highlight. I know you know where you are, but I know some of the text is a little small, and I don't know if you're watching on a phone or whatever. So Huntsville is right up in here, and that's when that line starts to come on through. So 10 o'clock. So in the next hour or two, that's when your severe weather threat starts to go up a little bit, and then it'll quickly go down. Then you're going to start to get in on some of that cooler air. Hey, good morning. Hey, what's going on in Memphis? All right, so for our friend in New Brunswick. So this same storm that we're kind of tracking now is going to be it's going to kind of meet up with this other system. So kind of pulling back here, there's the system that we are kind of tracking now. Here's this other little wave of low pressure kind of sliding through pretty much the U.S.-Canada border, and then they kind of merge right here. So if you can't see, right on the edge of your screen, there's Maine, here's New Brunswick. Some heavy snow starts to come through. Let's look at the time frame on this. This is going to be 7, 8 o'clock tonight, overnight, and then really some heavy snow Friday morning. So you're going to get on some heavy snow from the same system that's bringing the severe weather to parts of the U.S. right now. You got it, Sue. I appreciate you tuning in to the live stream. Welcome. Good to see you. Hey, Patty. Unfortunately not. So hopefully that answered your question, and thank you for stopping by, Darren. It's good to meet you on the live stream. And let me know if you guys are tuning in for the first time. I have about 5 more minutes here, and then I have to run. But welcome to anybody that is just joining us and finding us for the first time. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges, and we talk and track all things weather. If you do like talking and tracking the weather, please consider subscribing. And if you are finding this live stream helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It does help us out a lot. It helps YouTube realize that we are a credible source for this kind of information. Again, weather information is one of those things that you don't play with at all. I know a lot of people on YouTube do and use it as a way for clicks, things like that. It's the reason why I started this channel. So, hey, Gary, good to see you again. I was thinking about you this morning whenever we were kind of putting this forecast together here, kind of live. You might be able to get into it. It's going to be hard, though. Thanks, G-Bro. So here we go. And what county are you in? I know you're right on the border. Were you Danville? I'm sorry. I think I asked this the last time, too. Insane stuff. I know. It's a nice little kind of sneaky blast of cold. It's not going to be as impactful as the Christmas blast of cold, the Christmas Arctic blast. But yeah, it's going to be cold. It is going to blow up, Darren. And for those just joining us, Darren is tuning in from New Brunswick, so really, really cool stuff. Again, we talk about Canada every now and then as well whenever there's stuff going on. We go from Canada to the U.S., of course, and then into the Caribbean, especially during hurricane season. We have a lot of viewers on this channel that tune in from the Caribbean, and right now that's the spot to be. It is sunny. It is warm. Here in New York. What part of New York are you in? We can go take a look at your radar and see what's going on. Real quick, I want to just get back up. There is the tornado watch. Again, for those that are just tuning in, welcome. Rockingham County. Okay. Awesome stuff. I'm going to zoom this out again. There is our tornado watch in yellow. That includes Huntsville, Birmingham, just to the north of Montgomery. We still have 2 tornado warnings in play in Kentucky. Let's go check in on those real quick and see how those are doing. If I have anybody tuning in from Kentucky. The good news is they are starting to look a little better. I would imagine that there's a lot of red here. Let me turn off the watches real quick. Okay, so here's what the Weather Service did. They extended the 2 tornado warnings to a severe thunderstorm warning, and I think that's obviously the right call. I mean, again, they know what they're doing, of course. There's the spin. So really, this tornado warning is pretty much done. So Mackville, Harrodsburg, Kentucky, we're going to be under the gun for a nasty storm, but there's still a little bit of spin there. So meaning that it could produce a tornado at any time, but still the signal there is not as strong as it was, and it's not as likely to produce a tornado as what it was just a few little, just about 5, 10, 15 minutes ago when we were tracking that, when it did look very, very concerning. So some better news there. Let's head to upstate New York, and let's look at some of the rain moving through. And there we go. Hey, man, appreciate you always. Have a great day, my man, and good to see you on this early morning. Thank you again. Appreciate you. So there we go. There's some of the snow now, north of the Finger Lakes. It's just south of Plattsburgh and Burlington, Vermont. Saranac Lake getting in on some light snow. Some rain around Oswego, Syracuse. Finally dry in western New York. Been a rough winter in Buffalo. We've talked about you guys a lot on this channel this winter, unfortunately. And then here's the real heavy stuff. This is now moving into Ohio. So for reference, again, here is Pittsburgh, dry right now. But then look at all this heavy rain through Delaware, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, moving forward. And then let me turn off the velocity mode so that we can actually see this a little bit better. Reflectivity gone. Heavy rain right now through Cincinnati. Nothing severe right now. And it looks like we do just have... Okay, I thought that was a new tornado warning. It's not a new tornado warning. I appreciate that, and thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate that. Won't be back on today, but maybe tomorrow morning. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll be able to hop on the live stream. Then we always typically go live Saturday, whether anything's going on or not. I always just like to talk and hang out with you guys and talk weather, because that's what we do here. And if you like that stuff, come on and join us. It's a really awesome weather community. We have a lot of great conversations on this channel. And I love getting your storm reports because I'm just hanging out here watching the radar, and you guys are giving me the ground truth. So that helps a ton. Let people know what's going on as well. So if you love that stuff, like a lot of us do here, or just want to stay informed, please consider subscribing. And then I would love it also if you hit that thumbs up button, because again, it lets YouTube know that we are a credible channel and giving out good information here. So back into Mississippi, Jackson, we are out of the warning for the most part on the east side of town. We're still in it. But the worst of the weather is over in downtown Jackson, and our severe weather threat is going to quickly come to an end, quickly wind down. Philadelphia, Mississippi, the nastiest weather is just coming into town, so some really dark clouds likely right now. Nasty hail core right in here, where you see that kind of blue blip pop up there. I believe that is correct. Let's get back in to... We can go check that out. So this is 7 o'clock in the evening. You might have a few scattered showers in the afternoon, but in this rendition here on this high-resolution radar, and I've not looked closely at Virginia itself for my own forecast, but I do like how this model is performing here, handling the severe weather stuff that's going on at this time. And it looks like the worst of this stuff might be coming in the evening for you. So there's a few scattered downpours right along the Virginia-North Carolina border. And then that main push comes through, and then some really heavy rain late tonight. That's 10 o'clock now with some really heavy rain. I don't think this is much of a severe threat by 10, but then just right there in the middle. Thanks for stopping by, Bobby Girl. Appreciate you. Again, enjoy some of the snow if you get it. Again, it's mainly the higher elevations, but I think you're going to see some flakes. So enjoy it out there, and thank you for all of your reports on the bread and milk situation out there. You got it, Gary. Thank you again for tuning in. All right, my friends, appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in this morning as we popped a few tornado warnings this morning. Again, main concern this afternoon as we wrap up this live stream is going to be in the Deep South. Unfortunately, again, that is a good question. Not on this channel. Main concern would be in the Deep South. So Alabama, extreme southern Tennessee, Mississippi, right where you see that kind of bullseye there. That's where we have a tornado watch until later on this afternoon. So keep that in mind. And then the winter component to this really starts to crank up in the mountains of Tennessee, in the mountains of West Virginia, and North Carolina. So be on the lookout for there. If you have to drive like I-81 through the Blue Ridge Mountains tomorrow, going to be nasty, going to be windy, really snowy as well. And then it gets cold for the Deep South. So kind of a lot going on here with this. This was one of the same systems that slammed California a couple of days ago. So this is really making that cross-country trip from west to east. And then it's going to head up towards our friend who was watching from New Brunswick on Friday and really merge with another system, then just kind of explode off the Atlantic coast. So a lot going on in the weather. I appreciate all of you. If you are new here, welcome. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. We talk and track all things weather. If you like talking and tracking weather, please consider subscribing. Certainly, I would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. And again, we're going to stay on top of this, certainly in the community page today. So give it a subscribe. You'll be able to keep up with that. And for all the updates going forward, please stay safe, everybody. Appreciate all of you. Have a great Thursday.